So, good morning everyone. Today we'll talk about physical features of India. So, first we'll talk about the northern mountains. In this lecture, we'll focus on northern mountains and northern plains, not all other landforms of the physical relief of India in total. We'll talk about northern mountains and northern plains today. So, first we'll talk about northern mountains. As you can see, this is your northern mountain. They are also known as Himalayas. What are Himalayas? Now, Himalayas are basically snow mountains. Him means snow and Alayas means a word. So, that is snow mountain. So, these are fully covered with snow. So, the mountains are, these are basically mountain ranges. What is a range? Range is chain of mountains. So, mountain ranges, this can be divided into three types. First is the Greater Himalayas. They actually stretch from north in the whole of northeast. So now the Greater Himalayas are 2400 kilometers long and they are usually of height. The northern mountains are stretched from 2400 kilometers around. They are wider in northern parts, but they are a little narrower in the eastern part. Now, the Greater Himalayas are basically of 6000-meter height. The Middle Himalayas are south of Greater Himalayas. Their height actually varies from 3700 to 4500 meters. Then we see the Lesser Himalayas or the Shivaliks. Now, Greater Himalayas are also known as Himadri, whereas Middle Himalayas known as Himachal Range, and the Lesser Himalayas are also known as Shivaliks. So first, we'll talk about Greater Himalayas. Greater Himalayas are basically 400 kilometers to 150 kilometers. They are wider in north, so they are 400 kilometers, then 150 kilometer in east. So the whole of Himalayas are 2400 kilometer long and 400 in north, 150 in east. Now, Greater Himalayas have several peaks. There is one of the peak which is the tallest peak in world, that is your Mount Everest. This forms part of Greater Himalaya. Then we have Kanchenjunga in Sikkim, that is also mountain peak, part of Greater Himalaya. Then we have Nanda Devi in Uttarakhand, that is also a mountain peak of Greater Himalaya. We have Nanga Parbat, that is also a mountain peak of Greater Himalayas. Then we talk about different passes. So what is a pass? A mountain pass. Basically, mountain breaks and have gaps in it, and that gap is known as pass. So we have different mountain passes like Zozela Pass, Jelepla, Shipkila Pass, Nathula Pass. Nathula Pass was very much in news with the Doklam issues. So these are the mountain passes. Then we'll talk about middle Himalayas. So, middle Himalayas basically are between Greater Himalayas and Lesser Himalayas. They are also known as Himachal Range. Then we'll talk about Shivaliks or the Lesser Himalayas. So, the Shivaliks, unlike Greater Himalayas, they are not continuous mountain range. They actually breaks. They are discontinuous. So, Shivaliks in northeastern part are known as Purvanchal Range. Purvanchal Range. They have numerous hills like Garu, Khasi, Jaintia. They breaks into different mountain ranges. So lesser Himalayas are discontinuous mountain range. So uh, we see a lot of valleys here in Himalayas like Kullu Valley, Kashmir Valley and Kangra valleys. Valleys are basically depressions between two mountains. So mountain valleys we see Kullu Valley, Kangra Valley and Kashmir valleys. Then we also see glaciers in Greater Himalayas. we see snow glaciers. What are glaciers? They are basically land masses or basically snow masses, a huge snow mass. So, why are glaciers very important? The glaciers are important because when the glaciers melt, they give rise to perennial rivers. Rivers like Indus, Brahmaputra, Ganga, these are all glacial or perennial rivers. Now, so this was all for northern mountains. Now we'll talk about northern plains. Let me use this map to make you understand what are northern plains. Now, northern plains are known as food basket or food bowl of India. Why? Because northern plains are very fertile. These are south of the northern mountains. This is the region of northern plain. These are also known as Indo-Gangetic plain because a vast area is formed by the Ganga basin. Now, northern plains are very fertile. Why? Because all the perennial rivers coming from Himalayas form basins here. So this region becomes very fertile and therefore a lot of food grains can be grown here. So we'll talk about three important rivers. First is your Ganga coming from Gangotri Glacier. It gets drained into Bay of Bengal. From Gangotri Glacier it comes. Yamuna from Yamunotri Glacier joins Ganga as tributary of Ganga. Now, what is a tributary? When a smaller river joins a bigger river, the smaller river becomes tributary of the bigger river. So, Yamuna is also a glacier river from Yamunotri Glacier. Then, from here comes Gomati, from here Son. These are all tributaries of Ganga. Now, Ganga is coming to West Bengal. It actually breaks into Hooghly. One branch, Hooghly, goes to West Bengal and other branch, Padma, goes to Bangladesh. Now, when the river breaks into two parts, if there is a barrier, a land barrier, it breaks. So, the two parts become their distributaries. So, Hooghly and Padma are distributaries of Ganga. Now, we'll see Brahmaputra, another glacial river. We'll see Brahmaputra basin. So, this is Ganga basin. Then we'll see Brahmaputra comes from Tibet, and in Tibet it is known by the name Sanpo. Then it takes a turn and comes to India via Arunachal Pradesh, and here it is known as Bihar. Then it further flows to Assam and then goes to Bangladesh and merge with Ganga. But since it merges with Ganga, but Ganga here is now known as Padma. The branch of Ganga is known as Padma. So we don't count Brahmaputra as tributary of Ganga. So it merges Ganga and then flows into Bay of Bengal. So both Ganga and Brahmaputra makes world's largest delta, known as Gangetic Brahmaputra Delta. So, what is a delta? Delta is basically a triangular landmass formed by the rivers when they break before entering the sea. So, now we'll see another important Indian perennial river basin. Now, this is Satluj. Satluj is basically tributary of Indus. If this is Indus, we see Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj. These are all tributary of Indus. And Satluj has one more tributary, that is Beas. Now, Satluj is basically covers the state of Punjab and Haryana, and the famous Bhakra Nangal Dam is over Satluj. Then we see Ganga throughout here from Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh. We even see some parts like Son coming from MP and joins Ganga. We see Ganga in Bihar. We see Ganga in West Bengal. So we see parts of Ganga in Jharkhand also. So Ganga river basin covers these many states, and Brahmaputra river basin covers Arunachal Pradesh and Assam in India. So these were three important river basins. Now, we'll talk about importance of northern mountains and then we'll talk about importance of northern plains. So why are northern mountains important? Because they actually save us from the invaders. From ancient times also, the invasion from the northwest could not be possible because of the harsh conditions, harsh landforms, the bigger mountains, those are known as Himalayas. So northern mountains basically saved us from invaders. It actually acts as a barrier from the cold winds coming from North Central Asia. So, Central Asia, there are cyclonic winds. They used to come towards us, but the northern mountains acted as barrier. Northern mountain also stops the rain-bearing winds to leave our country. So, we see a lot of rain in our country because the northern mountains stop them to go outside. Then we can also say that these are source of perennial rivers. That's why we see northern plains very fertile because we have perennial rivers coming from the glaciers of Himalayas. Then we'll talk about importance of northern plains. So northern plains are very important because they are very fertile. They can grow, their food crops can be grown. They are known as food bowl of India. Then because they are they are plain surface, flat surface. So a lot of constructions can be, road rail construction is easily possible here. Then farmlands can be here. So we see northern plains also very important. And also because river basins are here, so a lot of settlements can be done here and northern plains are very populated. Populous, very densely populated, the northern plains are there. So we see a lot of inhabitations also here. So northern plains become thus very important. This was all for today. I hope you liked the lecture. Thank you.